Hello and welcome to a very special video. Today we are going to review the latest version of macOS called Monterey. Before we start, did you know that Monterey was the venue for one of the most famous pop musical festivals ever held? It kicked off the Summer of Love in June 1967. macOS Monterey might not be quite as exciting as that, but it's still pretty cool. There are lots of new features, so let's get started. Most of us have spent the last year and a half stuck at home and using apps like Zoom and Microsoft Teams to keep in touch with friends, family, and workmates. Now, FaceTime wants to join the party. In Monterey, you can watch movies and listen to music with friends on a FaceTime call. It even synchronizes controls so that you are all watching and listening to the same thing at the same time. And you can share your screen on a FaceTime call too. You can finally blur the background on a FaceTime call, but only if you have an M1 Mac. And you can use FaceTime to chat with friends who don't have a Mac or iOS device. You just share a link with them and they can use a web browser to join the call. Messages doesn't have as many new features as FaceTime, but hey, it had a big update last time, so it's only fair it lets other apps have the limelight this time around. It does get a new way to deal with attachments like photos and web links. These now appear in a new Shared with You section in apps like Photos and Safari. In Messages itself, multiple attachments in a single message are now arranged in stacks, just like the stacks on your desktop. You do use that feature, don't you? It's really cool. The big news in Notes is something called Apple calls Quick Notes. Quick Notes allow you to share content from other apps to Notes. When you create a quick note in an app such as Music or Safari, it appears in its own section, the Notes app, along with a thumbnail of the content in that app. One really cool thing about Notes is that you can work on notes with other people. And now in Monterey, it's really easy to see what changes people have made to shared notes thanks to the new Activity section. If you mention someone that you're working with in a note, their name is highlighted and they get a notification. And finally, Notes now supports tags. Oh, by the way, if you haven't upgraded to Monterey yet, it's a good idea to clear out all the junk files on your Mac before you do. Your Mac has gigabytes of files on its boot disk that you don't need. As well as taking up space, they can also make your Mac run more slowly, so it's definitely worth getting rid of them. Otherwise, you'll be installing a shiny new operating system on top of a lot of junk files. The easiest way to get rid of junk is to use Clean My Mac X. You can download it for free, and there's a link in the description. It scans your Mac looking for all the files you don't need, and when it's found, you can choose to review or just remove them. It's very easy to use. Now, back to Monterey. Safari got a pretty big update in Big Sur, so in this time around, it's all about the interface. The tabs bar has been redesigned and looks much sleeker. It kind of blends in with the rest of the web page, which is really cool. You can group tabs just like you can in Chrome and find the groups listed in the sidebar that also shows your reading list and bookmarks. And check this out. If you drag a tab group onto a message in Mail, all the web group addresses for the tabs are listed separately. Pretty cool, huh? Of course, tab groups are synced across all your Apple devices. Next, Universal Control. Have you ever wished you could have one keyboard and mouse and switch quickly from typing on your Mac to typing on your iPad or iPhone? Well, now you can. Put your iPad next to your MacBook, and you can even drag the cursor from the Mac screen onto the iPad screen. Then start typing in whatever app is open on your iPad. Put two MacBooks next to each other, and you can drag and drop files and folders from one to the other. Amazing! We love AirPlay. It's really cool to be able to use a big screen TV as a second display on your Mac, or to play a presentation on your iPhone and send it to an Apple TV. But we've always wanted to be able to use our 27-inch Mac screen as an AirPlay receiver and send video to it from an iPhone or iPad. In Monterey, we can finally do it. Thanks, Apple. One of our favorite iOS features has finally made it to the Mac. Shortcuts are a great way to automate tasks involving several different steps in different apps and work really well with Siri. Now you can use them on your Mac. Just like the iOS version, there is a gallery of shortcuts Apple has already created that allow you to do things like easily make your own GIFs or to put two apps in a split-screen side-by-side view. And of course, you can make your own shortcuts to do almost anything you want. Do you use iCloud? If you do, you'll be able to include video storage from HomeKit security plans in your storage allowance. There are a couple of other new iCloud features in Monterey that will help you keep what you do online private. There's a private relay that works a little bit like a VPN, hiding your IP address and encrypting data that leaves your Mac. And Hide My Email allows you to create random email addresses that are forwarded to your main iCloud.com account. Perfect for signing up for newsletters or entering competitions. Talking of mail, in Monterey, it prevents senders from being able to see whether you've opened an email or not. That's a lot of new features, right? But there are more. Lots more. Live Text. Live Text makes the text in any image selectable. You can copy and paste it or edit it just as if it were in a regular document. And if the text is in an address, you can click on it to open that address in Maps. Speaking of Maps, it gets a few new features too. There's more details in cities, new transit features, and a really cool 3D interactive globe. The Control Center in Monterey tells you which apps have access to your microphone and camera and has an indicator that lights up when they are in use. Finally, the Mac gets a low power mode, just like the iPhone, to help save battery life. And Macs with an M1 processor will be able to listen to spatial audio music and video in surround sound. Isn't Monterey an amazing upgrade? There are so many new features, and it's brilliant to see so many really cool iPhone and iPad features on the Mac. Check out the description box for details and links, and stay tuned for the next video.